Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to part 2. Sister Ruby, awful, I had to cut you. We had to pay some bills, but we're back.
My point was, what happens if the brother doesn't feel that he has a problem? We were saying that the couple should go and talk, but a lot of the time you might get resistance from the brother, and he might feel that it isn't a problem, and he might even feel embarrassed.
Yeah, I was going to say embarrassed. He might
that you're
be
going to
reluctant.
take me in front of whoever to discuss something so intimate. And maybe he'll think, like, what's the problem? I'm getting the job done, so by any means necessary.
But it's a big issue because this is a big part of marriage, and if it's a fracture, right? And it could bring about a big split.
He might not notice it, or he might be so caught up with other things it's not a problem to him. We don't know.
Would you define the problem as having this pornography issue or going to see a specialist?
We don't know what type of brother this person is.
The problem sounds like the reliance on this. She said he sounds like he needs it, so that sounds like a psychological issue.
Yes.
Also.
Definitely, even himself, I'm sure he would consider this as a problem. But I was going to mention, I think the lack of awareness and the right information within the Muslim families in the West, even in the East, or the feeling of mentioning these topics as being shameful, or they don't like to discuss, that probably complicate issues. I think more awareness and lectures, speeches should be made upon that these things are not real or real. This pornography issue and the films
to really
and
educate
the movie,
people about
to educate people and to talk more about it openly, not in mixed gathering, men, women,
But
boys,
we're mixed.
girls.
I'm a girl, and we're talking about it.
Yeah, I know, but from my experience, I noticed that it's a workout when it's got like small workshops with like teenagers, and so they can talk freely.
I think it would be good if we had workshops because sometimes men don't know how females think and feel, and women don't know how men think and feel, and it would be good. I think what we're doing here to have two males and a female and giving male and female perspectives is groundbreaking. Many people would feel that, even the fact that speaking about it to a woman would be shameful, but this is reality. There shouldn't be.
I don't think we have to change the principles of Islam, but I do think we have to move with the time as Muslims, because there's a new threat or new challenges that emerge. So we have to be able to think outside of the box or really address the issue. But you make an important point about men and women being able to discuss it. Maybe there's a chance to have, if the education workshop, where there's a section where men and women are together and there's a kind of general discussion or information, but then there can be a chance where the men leave and
women
branch off into smaller groups, so it can people can open up a little bit more, that get that
because
bit
each
more
of them has got its own benefit, the private discussions and the general one, the mixed. But the important is to talk about it, because nowadays there are so many issues. I'm sure each of us is engaged for a few hours within these kind of social media, TV. It's become part of life. And God knows how many times there are kind of
images come across.
Even outside
in
the
a bus,
street,
on a bus driving past you, just
everywhere. It's become like everywhere. So there should be the right information should be spread, the right Islamic information, and the right Islamic message, because bear in mind the Muslim young generation, they meant to be conservative, and that probably will put them in a very sensitive threshold, challenging dilemma,
tricky situations, right?
And the more they feel embarrassed to talk about, the more or the deeper they got in trouble. So something should be discussed or within the community center, the Imam Bara, the Husseiniya, the Masjid.
The parents need to educate themselves too,
True.
It's being a parent is a full-time job. It doesn't stop when you're 21, 18 or 17. If you're going to live in an environment that has so many things, you need to educate yourself before somebody else does. I don't want my son to be educated by TV or by school. I want him to be educated by myself first with my principles. So if he sees something, it's not shocking.
So it's almost like what I'm hearing is that modesty and to be shy about things is good, but it could be harmful in this day and age if we don't
Modesty is always, have modesty and
have that
decorum.
willingness to address this issue.
Yes,
You know, because some
absolutely.
people mistake. What I'm trying to say is that people sometimes mistake. Oh, I couldn't speak about that. That's
But
that's not
somebody
my
else
nature,
will.
not my morals.
Somebody, as they say, somebody.
But we need to, as a
You're on the
community,
bus
we need to
and
address
it's
it.
there.
Yeah, we need to. Maybe with parents, some people they find it a bit embarrassing, or they feel, shy.
Yeah.
There are limits to what children can tell their parents, or what parents can tell children. But I'm sure there are so many other ways of discussing these things.
But there will be resistance, because I am aware that there are some centres who try to pioneer and put on workshops like this, non-denominational, like Sunni, Shia, whatever, just Muslims, and some people have complained that shouldn't be from the minbar, the sheikh shouldn't speak from the alim, they
Why?
shouldn't,
The sheikh is
because this
human.
is
It's
not-
his job.
this is not for the mosque,
Well, it is
because the mosque is a holy place. The mosque is for prayer and
But
and
hold
to
on,
make iftar
our
and things like
beloved
this.
prophet and the infallibles, everything was open, from the way they ate, from the way they conducted their lifestyle. This is a religion that is a way of life. It covers everything, alhamdulillah.
Yeah, but for the public speaking issue, I'm sure it all depends on the place and the time. I mean, some recent ulama, when like the night of Ashura, they start talking about that, which is not the right
No,
time,
not
or
the right
Laylatul Qadr.
Yeah.
Plus, there are gatherings which are more, when it's more convenient to discuss these things, rather than having like the Jum'ah prayer ones. It's the right time for the right word, and I'm sure he can use his common sense or sense of humor to see how can he deliver the right message to the right people at the right time.
But it needs to be addressed, and particularly by the alims, I think, because if it's professionals, or only professionals, people sometimes Muslims will see it as it's the respect or the value. They won't value it as much if it's from there's somebody that's a psychologist or a social worker that's a Muslim that's come to give a workshop.
Knowledge is knowledge, I
The
think.
turnout might be impacted. Whereas if it's Sheikh so and so, Sayyid so and so talking about blah blah blah,
I think that
or attending the workshop, then
I
I think people will be more. You get more popular support. That's my opinion. That's my
I
honest,
think
genuine opinion.
anything that comes, let's be honest, anything that comes from our scholars and our alims, people take a bit more notice of because of their positions. So it does need to come from them. But, it's a community effort. So sometimes we need individuals to approach alims and say, I think, this would be good. And, the community centres need to promote this and foster it. Sometimes people are scared. It's a big cultural change for a lot of people. And in our community especially, we move at snail's pace. But we don't have that luxury anymore.
Don't have the luxury. But inshallah, we will see some progress in the community in this area. Inshallah. Okay, I'll go on to the third and final letter for today.
Okay.
It reads, it's quite a long letter. It seems
Alright.
quite a complex letter. It says, Dear ItTakes2, I met a girl I like. She is quite religious and I like her. She prays and does all those religious things. But some things I am not liking. I want your advice if she is bad for me or if I am too strict on her. It reads, what I don't like is her modesty. Wears hijab but loads of pics on Facebook, or pictures on Facebook, sometimes nearly like posing. She keeps telling me how good looking I am and I don't like it. She tells me boys in the past used to hit on her, try to chat her up. She rejected them but was friends. I am so uncomfortable about how close she is trying to get to me even though we are not married. Sometimes calls other girls good looking. Why do I want to know? He continues, I don't get her.
I'm a bit confused. They're engaged, married, what is this? What's the situation? I'm a bit
They're
confused.
just in love, I think.
They're engaged, or
am
this
I
is
being
someone
too
he's
harsh?
interested to you?
I'm worried about these things. He's basically saying, I've met a girl I like. She's quite religious, and then he has a catalogue of things that he's concerned about. I guess when he's saying that he likes her, that maybe I'm assuming that he's considering her for marriage. But
Well, the question is, why does he like her? Other than the things he mentioned, what is it that he finds that they're compatible and that he likes? We don't know. And are those things more important than these things? And can he not talk about each one? I mean, if they're seriously thinking about getting married, he could say, you know, we've decided that we're going to be together. I don't think you posting pictures of yourself
sounds
on Facebook
quite young.
is
They sound
appropriate.
quite young. They sound quite young.
I'll give it to the say it.
But no, because I'm let me try and extract something from this. That it sounds like a Dr. Jekyll or Mrs. Hyde, if I can. But like, she's religious, she wears it, but then he starts to look on her Facebook and then sees her pose, and so he sees another side. She prays, she fasts, she does all the religious things, but then he's starting to see another side. So maybe he was attracted to the religious side, but now there's this other side that he's seeing that.
Maybe he's confused as
It's
to what he wants.
making him wonder.
It's a common problem nowadays. So many people, they're having this kind of problem. They had like two characters. The character they have at home or at work when they become religious, but they have another character where they think that they can give themselves more liberty or freedom. And religion become like a tender or a fashion or a cultural thing. I think there is a confusion here. He needs to talk to her openly. How he fallen in love with her, probably through her poses or looks or whatever. So they need to put a limit to that. If he's not happy, this is the way she is. So before anything happens, they need to sit down together and talk, and being so truthful to each other. If he's not happy about this, he needs to tell her. She needs to know what's Islamic, what's non-Islamic. I'm not sure about his religious standard, because I can guess that he is a bit, or he was relaxed, and now he's trying to be more strict. So he should explain more, and I think it's a very simple issue. He just need to sit down with her and talk to her and tell her, listen, if we are in love, we need to get married, but if you want to become my wife and you want me to be your husband, this and that should happen. It's as simple as that, and that's it.
He doesn't feel comfortable with certain behaviours, but the fact that she's telling him about Facebook, I think, I'm not personally on Facebook, but if you're on Facebook, you can choose who can see your pictures, so it can be your friends or family, or you can open it up to the public.
She's posing. Almost posing.
But anytime we take pictures, don't we pose?
I don't know. I don't know if I'm
She
reading
might
too
be
much
with
into
her
it.
friends on next to the Eiffel Tower, and she's doing this to the Eiffel Tower, like, oh, I'm holding the Eiffel. What does he mean? Is he feeling insecure about himself?
It's clearly it's not Islamic to do this to Eiffel Tower.
Well, I don't know what his problem is.
But
maybe he feels insecure. He's found somebody he really likes, and now maybe he's trying to enforce his ideas on her. Why don't they just sit down and talk?
He's confused. It sounds like he's confused.
He sounds like a young man, a young brother, and he does sound like he's finding it really challenging, because if he has feelings for this woman or young lady, this girl, but then, for example, she's mentioning, maybe it's not advice for her to mention, how many, men, whether they're brothers or not brothers, have tried to
But you know
win her
what? When
affections. That doesn't necessarily make.
No, but she
doesn't
might.
make sense.
It doesn't make the man in their life.
Hold on a minute.
feel
When
so
you're
great.
young, no. When you're young, and then you think you have a pick of the crop, you can get anything from the menu, and you're like, oh, I really like you. Look, I could be with Abdul likes me, John, blah blah blah. But here I am with you because I really like you, and he's thinking, why are you telling me about Abdul,
Exactly.
John?
Yeah, no,
Because I don't think.
But when your
'cause if
young girls do that, they think it's
when your young
look
guys
at
do
me,
that, but I'm
Even
not
if
sure if it's
guys-
ideal.
But when
Yeah.
you're
Even if
young.
guys they do it, I mean, if you tell her that so many ladies liked me, but I've chosen you, or I want to be with you, it all depends on the way they said it. But it's not healthy to talk about these issues.
Yeah.
No, it isn't. But when you're young, you don't think about what comes out your your mouth all the time.
And it's not gonna, and it's definitely not gonna help, as it was mentioned in the letter that she sort of mentioned that, you know, although they tried to win her affections, she didn't marry them or whatever, but we're still friends. I mean, that's just not gonna help.
Oh my
Well, it
God,
sounds-
in this
his feelings.
society.
Sounds like it's a non-Islamic relation if it's only friends talking about these things.
But he sounds, for him to send that letter in means that he's trying to, if he isn't already religious, he's trying to
I think he's
prove on his
wrestling
Islam.
with a lot of things.
Yeah,
I
he
think
should sit down and talk to her.
yeah, he's wrestling with a lot of things. Maybe he feels insecure. Maybe, as the Sayyid said, suddenly he's woken up and he wants to get married and be a certain way. Maybe she's not at that stage yet. They need to talk it out. Maybe this isn't they're not right for each other right now.
Maybe.
We don't know.
This is a big possibility.
Maybe they're both not ready for
That's
Maybe
it.
not ready and not right, because it sounds like there is maturity in the scenario.
I mean, what
maturity.
attracted him to her? Was it her Quranic recitation?
No, probably her poses.
You know, we don't know.
I have a question about pictures and social media, Facebook, Twitter, this type of thing. What is a sort of ruling or the akhlaq of sending pictures to people who you're not married to or things like
It's
this?
not allowed, it's haram.
It
Okay.
depends on your marriage, no?
Yeah, I mean, unless if it's with full hijab and things, and rarely people send these kind of pictures.
Okay. So it's okay. Would be okay for a brother to have a picture on his Facebook if he's ihram, he's dressed appropriately.
No, it's not okay.
Oh, it's not okay.
Unless if he's covered.
Yeah, so I mean, like he's full,
No,
fully.
but when we say ihram, it can be.
Oh, wait, sure.
Oh no, he's not with his shirt off or something. I mean, like if he's
Yeah.
Yeah, but
smartly dressed or
both of them should be covered.
yeah.
Even
But it's okay if
smart-
they're covered. They can send each other.
No.
It's not ideal.
It depends on your marja. It really does. Some
Okay.
marjas say absolutely no photos. Don't even go on Facebook. If you want to put an image, do a cartoon or a flower or a plant, but not yourselves. Some marjas say absolutely not. Some of them say if you're planning to seriously, you've decided that you're going to marry this person,
Okay, this is
it's okay.
This is different matter. This is completely different, yeah. But we are talking in general. The idea of the Facebook.
Because some
and
people make
sending-
friends, like acquaintances. They say,
This is
quote unquote,
definitely
friend.
haram.
Oh, I have friend this
This
sister
is
on Facebook,
definitely
and she
haram.
sent me a picture of her and her friends. Ooh, but like, is this? It's not. It's not appropriate.
I mean,
Okay.
it's just by intellect. I mean, forget about the ruling and the ayat and the hadith. Islam always encourages healthy relationship. Islam always discourage mixing or confusing relationship between men and women.
Right.
And clearly, everyone with the minimum intellect would realize that these relationships through the social media are not the healthy and or ideal kind of relationship, and they are not Islamic.
Okay. Lead to more difficult. May lead to more compromising situation.
Yeah, it is non-Islamic. It's clearly it's easy. We can't Islamize these kind of things.
All right. So I have another question, and it's just something that sprung to mind based on this. Sometimes people have been married, Muslim people have been married, and they've had WhatsApped or whatever message each other's pictures, and then they're not married anymore. So I would say, all right, with a sister with her hair showing, for example, her husband has that picture, and he's no longer a husband. What's your thoughts?
Pictures, I just from my own experience.
Do you get where I'm coming from?
If I can just butt in, it's a bit different.
No, but
from
please.
I have this situation with a friend of mine. We went on holiday. We took pictures. Sisters, my friends, obviously a female. We took pictures, and we just thought, it's of just of ourselves with ourselves. I was not in hijab because we were, just personal pictures with my friend. And then I went to my friend's house, and I saw in the living room she has a big picture. That picture, stuff. I'm laughing,
Well, you was
but I was from
mortified.
shock. No, it's still there, and I was like, "How could? But surely men come to your house. She's not married, but why have you put my picture on? Why do you have my picture on your wall? I'm obviously
Public display sort of thing.
Exactly. And then this is what I'm saying. We have to be careful of how we use our images, because you could be friends with someone one day and tomorrow you don't know what they're doing with that picture on their phone. Or you could be married, and sometimes, when people get divorced, they get so angry. The next thing you know, the picture of you, on your honeymoon is brother somebody has now seen it, you know, whatever. So you really have to be careful, even with your own friends. You know, on your phone, you don't know you're sitting there, they're taking pictures, or you're thinking, oh, I've deleted the picture. No, it's in somebody's house.
Yeah.
And in fact,
so
one of my
young
friends,
people need to be quite aware of this. 'Cause
young
young people are
people need
more
to
probably
really be
desensitive. If they've grown up
careful.
in the Twitter age and the Facebook, they seem less inhibited as opposed to older people who are kind of
religiously, when they got divorced, they should give back to each other their pictures back, and they shouldn't distribute old pictures, because the picture is something belonged to that period of time when there was a relationship. Now there is no relationship, so the picture is not allowed to be distributed anymore. It's a private thing. Plus, even ethically, it's a private issue. Plus, Islamically, she became stranger, and he's
you,
not
you
allowed
have no
to.
right. You have no right to image
I
in
mean,
that way
how many
anymore.
times have we been to weddings or engagements and the sisters aren't in hijab, they're with each other, and somebody's taken a picture or a child by accident you didn't know, and then you go somewhere and oh my God, your picture's there, and you're like,
Yep.
I had no idea. A lot of the times when we go to places, they now say, you know, please put your phones away, even when the children are playing, you know, in case this kind of thing happens.
It's happened to some families, yeah.
Yes, exactly. And then you're like, oh my God, you know, someone will say, but I saw sister somebody without hijab. Where did you see me without hijab? Oh, in somebody's house when you was, oh,
Yeah.
you know, so we really have to be careful.
Yeah, the issues of the iPhone and the easy pictures and easily videos, it's a very sensitive issue, and I think also for this one there should be more awareness and more talk and more lectures. These topics should be discussed further, because in the last 10-15 years so many things happen, and nowadays it's become so easy.
It's the technology, isn't it? Not the technology. It's not the fault of the technology, but because it's so available, then it brings up these different situations. So I'm thinking in the past you would take pictures and you would hand them into the chemist, and it was something you looked forward to. You didn't even know how you looked
And
in
you
a
put it
picture.
in your album, but
look
now
and
it can be on the person's Facebook,
in
or in front of
seconds.
their
In seconds,
page,
it can be across the world in
Yeah.
seconds.
Yeah.
Well, what about if you're interested in somebody and you want to send photos? You're not even in an
In
economy.
order
Is that
to
okay?
get married?
No, you like the person, and you know the family's like, this is a picture of my daughter. Shall I send you some more pictures?
Oh, if
You
you're
start
kind of
talking
negotiating
to
marriage,
each-
if you're
yeah,
trying
you're
to
negotiating. You're not
Because-
even.
But there is a marriage idea somewhere.
Yes, but
If
it
there
might
is a
not
marriage
happen.
idea, it's okay, provided that they have a look at it once, or to decide and then to bring it back. It happened nowadays. They send pictures and they ask, because people should be mutasharra'in. So please delete this, and then they delete it. Using that picture after that is haram. If there isn't kind of marriage idea or plan, then it's haram. to
Or
send
the
pictures.
marriage breaks up, as you said. It's not good to show those pictures to
Yeah.
people who aren't your,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
related to you or your mahram. Why would you do that?
Okay.
But it happens so many times, sisters.
So again, this is something that we need to have discussed in the mosque, in the different forums, because it is a common issue, especially with young people who are so technical. Not only young people, but especially to help the young brothers and sisters come
like
to protect
ethical
them.
issues related to social media, pictures, videos, filming. Nowadays it becomes so easy to film someone.
Accessible, yeah. So
Yeah.
And
Just
to
with
be
the
fair,
iPhone.
when you're young, you want to take pictures of yourself. You're looking your best, you know. It's like,
Yeah,
you know,
it doesn't-
everything is picture. You're eating a hamburger. Let me take a picture. I'm sitting down. Let me take
But
a
you
picture.
don't
Yeah.
send the pictures because Islamically, I think the young should be taught that Islam wants us to be respected, or the Muslim has got a special status which put him in a respected status or level, and his picture has got a value. It shouldn't be just distributed
Like
just
a newspaper and
newspaper.
tossed up.
But in the Twitter age, that's what it is. People tweet, even if they're not sending it to a particular, they tweet it to the whole world. They just put it on the World Wide Web.
But
Just,
in
hey,
Twitter, picture can be any decent picture with hijab, with no, even with brothers, with men. I remember a few years ago, 2-3 years ago, there were some religious brothers, and they had their photos on Facebook in a beach, dress it with just swimming trunks and things.
They probably
Not
didn't think
suitable
anything of it.
for the Muslim brother. And I'm sure they weren't aware
They weren't
of.
thinking.
They
They
weren't
having
thinking.
a good time.
Yeah. Apparently, I mean, some of them meant to be anyway, but I think these things should be discussed further in mosques and community centers, in schools,
Indeed.
and Saturday schools. We need to educate the generation of how to be true Muslims. This is the way the previous generation taught us, and nowadays it becomes so important that the young generation knows the right limits.
Yeah,
For your own
yeah.
protection.
For protection, I like that. That's a good note to close on. Saeed, thank you for coming this
Thank
week.
you.
Thank you very much, Sister
Thank you.
Rui, as always. Thank you, and to you, brothers and sisters at home, for watching this publication. Hope to see you next time. Until such time, stay safe. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Do you need some relationship advice? Do you have marital problems or questions? Perhaps you want to get married and you have questions for us. Please send your thoughts or questions to ItTakes2@sophiatv.com.